All right, good morning, everyone. We're going to go in and get started. Today's June 27th, and thank you so much for joining us today. In case you didn't know, today June is National Home Ownership Month, and we're happy that you've taken part of your time today to participate in the New Homes for Houston Virtual Homebuyer Fair. You could have been anywhere today, right now. You could have been at an early lunch or taking a day off, but you're here with us now, and we appreciate your time. We got a lot to present to you today, a lot of great information, and so we want to be respectful of everyone's time and go ahead and get started. So just a couple of housekeeping items to help make this presentation go as smoothly as possible for everyone attending today. As you're joining us, please mute your microphone. We've had over 300 folks register today, and so it'd be really great if we can have everyone mute themselves so that you all can hear the great information from our presenters today. This Homebuyer Fair is being recorded. We are going to send the recording and the slides that we'll be using that you're seeing now to everyone who registered. So in the next 2 to 3 business days, so you should get that by Friday or Monday through email. We also want to encourage you to use the chat box to put your questions in throughout the presentation today. For either our partner or for ourselves, both of us have folks that are monitoring the chat box, so they'll be able to answer your questions in real time. We are going to have Q&A time in between both our sessions in the middle and at the end as well. But putting your questions in the chat allows our team to answer those questions as we go along. So please use that chat box as if any questions come up during our presentation. So a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. We're going to start with introductions, including the city and our partner. We're going to talk about 2 City of Houston programs, the Home Buyer Assistance Program and our New Homes for Houston initiative, and some additional resources that can help you on your home buyer journey. So as part of our introductions, my name is Jeremiah Rivera. I'm a Community Outreach Coordinator for the City of Houston's Housing and Community Development Department. I'm just going to say HCD moving forward, just to make that a little bit shorter. I'm going to be leading part of this presentation today. And to kick us off, if you recall, as part of the registration for this webinar, we asked you all a series of questions that were optional. And we really appreciate your feedback because it lets us know what's going on in the market and where you are today in terms of your homebuyer journey and how we can shape our programming to make it more reflective for what you need. And so one of the questions we asked is, why do you want to be a homeowner? And these were the top options that keep kind of coming up as we do these presentations. For my children is always a top answer. You're thinking about their day-to-day stability, safety, access to neighborhood amenities that they need, something to call my own. You were a lot of comments about you want your own space for your own ownership of where you're living, being tired of rent, which I identify with. Every time I read that comment, I kept thinking about the Saturday Night Live meme. Building generational wealth is a little bit different, right? So for my children, you're talking about things you wanted to do day to day on their lives right now to improve that. But some of y'all were thinking long term, your home as a financial asset for your children 15, 20, 30 years down the road. And that's what you're looking at in terms of why you wanted to be a homeowner. And then part of the response was home ownership is part of your vision for the American dream. Everyone's vision for the American dream is different, but for those of you that answered this way, home ownership is a vital component of that. We also asked what's the most important thing you're looking for in a home, and the number one choice is always price. You have a set budget that you're kind of looking at. Number 2 is neighborhood. A lot of passionate responses about wanting to go back to where you grew up, where a specific neighborhood that you identify with and wanting to live there. Bedroom count was also a popular choice. You're thinking about where your kids are going to sleep, wanting to have privacy from your current situation. Proximity to work and school was tied a little bit to neighborhood, but it's a little bit different. A lot of specific comments about you want to be within 15 to 20-minute drive of work and school. And then one of my favorites was the backyard. You're either talking about a backyard for your kids to play, or you're very specific about wanting your house to be the spot for barbecues, for the neighborhood, or for your family. A lot of very ambitious ideas for how that was going to play out. But we also wanted to know what are the barriers that you're facing towards home ownership today, right? The number one was going to be sales price. As we know, home prices have exploded. The median price for a single family home has gone up 42% in the last 5 years in the Houston area. I can tell you my income has not gone up 42% in the last 5 years. I wish it had, but it hasn't. Tied to that, you're thinking about your down payment. How are you going to set aside money in the bank to actually get to that figure you needed to get to? There's a lot of thought about credit scores, how that's going to impact your ability to get a mortgage. And then student loans, that's coming up a lot, especially for folks my age. Something not listed here is the idea of you don't know how to begin the home buyer process. It's a very complicated process. A lot of partners have to come into play to get you on your home buyer journey and where you need to be. So moving forward to these webinars, what we're going to do is bring a different partner in that can talk about their particular aspect of the home buyer journey. Their presentations are not meant to be comprehensive, and you don't have to use the resources they bring to you, but this can be an excellent place for you to start and to ask questions for your home buyer team. So with that said, I'm thrilled to introduce our home buyer partner today for today's presentation, the U.S. Housing Urban Development, or HUD, Houston Field Office. They're going to present a ton of great information about FHA. And so with that, I'm going to mute myself and take myself off the mic, off the camera, and I'm going to hand it over to our partners to take over.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Jeremiah, and thank you all. Could we go to the next slide, please? So thanks for that introduction. My name is Adela Ramadi. I'm with the Department of Housing and Urban Development in the Houston Field Office. Thank you all for being here and spending your morning with us. To introduce you to the Houston Field Office, I'd like to kick us off with our director of our field office director, Eric Cobb, for some opening remarks. And could we go? There we go. All right, Eric.
Well, good morning, and welcome to the Houston Virtual Home Buyers Fair. As stated, I am Eric Cobb, the Houston Field Office Director. Of course, this is the Department of Housing and Urban Development. You know us as HUD, so hopefully you'll be able to put some faces with that name, with HUD, after today. And again, I am excited. I'm excited because there is opportunity in the air, and you are in the right place at the right time. June, of course, as stated, is National Homeownership Month, and there are so many positive reasons to own a home. Let me tell you, as a young single dad, I had 4 children. And owning a home provided it provided a stable environment to help me raise those children. And the equity acquired over several years, it helped pay for car loans, college tuition. It helped fund other financial endeavors. So I want you to just understand and know all of the positive aspects that home ownership can bring to you. And again, I just wanted to give you some personal experiences that helped me through home ownership. Today, we have some experts from HUD and experts from our great partners from the city of Houston to show you how to get on the path to home ownership, if that's what you choose to do. So I want you to listen carefully, listen closely, and you're going to hear about some great programs and some great opportunity. So again, thank you for being here. And at this time, I'm going to turn this over to a member of our HUD staff, Jasper. Jasper, are you there?
Thank you, Mr. Cobb. Again, I'm Jasper Crudison. I'm a supervisory management analyst with the field office here in Houston, the Office of Field Policy and Management. And we are essentially the concierge, the front door of HUD facing the public. So your contact with the field office, you would contact someone on the staff. And with that, our staff would be Isaac Newberry. We also have Olucha Nwacha, referred to as Lou in the office, and of course, Adela Ramadi. So if you have any questions or you want to reach out to HUD for anything, contacting the Office of Field Policy Management, our numbers will be listed, and the emails will be listed at the end of the presentation. We will be the ones that you are contacting. So with that information, I will now turn it over to Adela and get on with the rest of the presentation.
Thank you so much, JC. And yeah, we just wanted to show you a little bit about who we are here in the Houston field office. And today's presentation is going to focus on the single family program area. That's what brings you all here today. And for Houston and for the state of Texas, this is operated through the Denver Home Ownership Center, where Amy Trujillo is the director. And today's presentation is going to be given by Housing Program Officer Carla Manzanares, and I'll introduce you to her in just a moment. And any questions that you might have after this presentation are going to be directed to the Denver Homeownership Center, and Carla will provide you that contact information at the end of her presentation. Some of the other program areas that are doing really important work in Houston include public and Indian housing, fair housing and equal opportunity, multifamily, and community planning and development, and the directors are listed below each program area. Next slide, please. And as Jasper mentioned, here in Field Policy and Management, we are the principal points of contact for HUD in the field. We help coordinate events like this. We work with our partners like the City of Houston, building partnerships. We work with the public, the media. We help advance HUD secretarial initiatives that are coming down from DC, and we respond to inquiries that constituents like you make to congressmen and women, senators, local officials, and we help coordinate local disaster relief efforts. Next slide, please. And while today we're focusing just on Houston, we have a jurisdiction of 35 counties in Southeast Texas, and those are listed here. Next slide, please. So without further ado, I would like to hand it over to Ms. Manzanares for her presentation. And any questions that come up, you can feel free to type them in the chat and we'll address them after her presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hello and good morning, everyone. I first would like to thank our partners at the City of Houston, HCD, for bringing us all together in the 21st year of celebrating National Homeownership Month. Next slide, please. Next slide. So I'm Carla Manzanares, as Adela said, and I'm a housing program officer in the Denver Homeownership Center. Next slide. Today, I will provide you with an overview of FHA, the Federal Housing Administration, and we'll start with a brief background of its roles and responsibilities, go over some information on FHA programs and products, provide some recent updates, and tell you where to find some resources and contact information. Next slide. Let's jump right into the FHA background. Next slide, please. In 1934, Congress created FHA as a means of stabilizing the housing market, and FHA became a part of HUD in 1965. In the 89 years since FHA was created, it supported the American dream of homeownership to qualified first-time homebuyers and underserved borrowers. FHA is like an insurance company.
Thank you for calling Kaiser Permanente's Medicaid Assistance Center. My name is Monica. And who do I have the pleasure of speaking to today?
I'm sorry, can we have everybody mute their phones? Mute their lines, please. Thank you. So as I was saying, FHA is like an insurance company. It provides insurance on loans made by FHA-approved lenders to lessen their risk for losses if a homeowner defaults on their mortgage. So if a homeowner defaults, then FHA pays a claim to the lender and then the house comes back to HUD. FHA insures mortgages on single-family homes, multi-family properties, residential care facilities, and hospitals throughout the United States and its territories. Today, we'll focus on single-family programs. Next slide, please. Marcia L. Fudge is the 18th Secretary of HUD. Julia Gordon is FHA's Assistant Secretary for Housing and the Federal Housing Commissioner. Sarah Idelman is the Deputy Assistant Secretary for the Office of Single Family Housing, FHA. Next slide. HUD homeownership centers insure single-family FHA mortgages and oversee the selling of HUD homes. Hawks, as we call homeownership centers for short. They're organized to serve specific states, and there are 4 located across the U.S. They are located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Atlanta, Georgia, Denver, Colorado, Santa Ana, California. And the Denver Homeownership Center oversees the largest region in the nation. As you'll see here in light blue, our 17 state area is right in the middle, which includes Texas. Next slide, please. Single family FHA insures loans for purchase or refinance transactions of new or existing homes, condominiums, manufactured housing, houses needing rehabilitation, and reverse equity mortgages for elderly homeowners. From 2020 to present, FHA insured almost 18,000 homes for first-time homebuyers in Houston. Next slide. The 203B program is FHA's basic insurance program. In general, FHA insured loans must be fully amortizing, which is the process of paying off your mortgage loan with regular monthly payments. FHA insured loans allow for lower down payments of 3.5%. For example, if you buy a home, because I'm bad at math, I'm going to make this easy. If you purchase a home for $100,000, your down payment would be $3,500. FHA loans can either be fixed or adjustable rate with a maximum 30-year term. Next slide. Another program is the 203K for rehabilitation loans. FHA offers 2 203K programs, the standard and the limited. The standard 203K is for major rehab or repairs, and the minimum cost of repairs or improvements is $5,000, and there's no max other than FHA mortgage limits set by the county. So in Harris County, the maximum loan limit is $472,030 for a single unit household. The limited 203K is for minor remodeling and non-structural repairs. There's no minimum cost of repairs, but the maximum is $35,000, and neither can be used for luxury items such as swimming pools and hot tubs. The 203K can be used with other FHA programs, such as the 203H, which is insurance for disaster victims, purchase, rehab, or repair of real estate-owned properties, energy-efficient mortgages, and solar and wind improvements. I should mention that there are efforts underway to evaluate and enhance this 203K program to enable more homes to be restored. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, the 203H program is mortgage insurance for disaster victims. If there was a disaster, for example, a flood, and you were a homeowner or renter and your home was affected, your home in the affected area was destroyed or damaged so badly that reconstruction or replacement is necessary, then you may be eligible for this 203H mortgage loan. It provides FHA financing with no down payment to either rebuild or purchase a new home in your city or anywhere else in the United States. You must be registered with FEMA and meet other requirements. Next slide. FHA also administers the sale of real estate-owned properties, or REO. An REO property is also known as a HUD home. It's a 1 to 4 unit residential property with an FHA insured mortgage acquired by HUD, in most cases by a foreclosure. You can either you can purchase an REO property as a 203B when there aren't any repairs required, a 203B with repair escrow for required repairs up to $10,000, or a 203K if the home needs major repairs. For a list of REO properties, you may go to the HUD Home Store, and there's a link provided on this slide. If you click on the link, you'll see a map of the United States, and then you could click on Texas, and then you'll get a full listing of these properties. Next slide. FHA has a reverse mortgage insurance property called a home equity conversion mortgage. Make sure I'm on the right slide. Yeah, sorry about that. Or we call them HECMs for short. And HECMs allow seniors that are 62 years or older to tap into their home equity or to purchase a home. Many seniors are cash poor and house rich, meaning that they have equity in their home, but not enough liquid assets for savings and spending. So the benefits of a HECM can take the financial burden off of family and enable seniors to age in place. Borrowers are required to occupy the property as the principal residence and are responsible for paying taxes, insurance, and other assessments. HECM counseling is required, which explains program features, borrower responsibilities, costs, and other possible alternatives. Borrowers can choose varying payment plan options or a fixed lump sum. And if you'd like more information on HECMs, I can put a link in the chat here in a little bit. Next slide, please. HUD provides support to a nationwide network of housing counseling agencies. These agencies provide information, advice, tools for consumers seeking financing, maintaining, renting, or owning a home. Agencies also assist those facing homelessness and homeowners that may be struggling with foreclosure. Next slide. So now you know about FHA programs. Here's a list of short videos. They're only 3 to 5 minutes long, and these will help you make decisions on your home purchase. The first is first-time homebuyer video. The second, are you ready for homeownership? The third is an FHA loan right for you. And fourth is housing counseling right for you. Next slide, please. Generally, to be eligible for an FHA loan, you must have a Social Security number to be eligible to work in the United States and be of legal age to sign a mortgage in your state. Lenders verify income, assets, liabilities, and credit history for all parties on the loan. FHA mortgage programs don't typically have a maximum income limit for qualifying, but you must have sufficient income to qualify for the mortgage payment and other debts. Income limits may be present when you are qualifying for down payment assistance programs or secondary financing that may be used in conjunction with FHA loans. Using FHA guidelines, lenders will make a credit determination based on the merits of each case. And to find out if you qualify and how much you can borrow based on your income and debts, you should contact an FHA approved lender. And then a link is provided here on the slide so you can search for lenders in your area. Next slide, please. Next slide. HUD's Office of Housing and FHA continue to implement policies to expand the nation's housing supply by supporting affordable, sustainable homeownership and financing options. In September of last year, Mortgagee Letter 2217 was issued that gave consideration of positive rental payment history to first-time home buyers. Currently, rental verification is not a feature in most credit reports, and FHA is updating its system to allow for utilization of rental payment history. In November of 2022, FHA issued Mortgagee Letter 2218, allowing FHA borrowers the option of purchasing private flood insurance on FHA-insured mortgages for properties that are located in special flood hazard areas. This gives borrowers more choice when they're selecting flood insurance. And then a big change that came with the issuance of Mortgagee Letter 2305, where FHA's annual mortgage insurance premium was reduced to allow first-time home buyers to save an average of $800 a year. Next slide, please. Next slide. The FHA Resource Center answers questions about buying a home, qualifying for a loan, down payment assistance, housing counseling, and loan servicing. You may email questions to answers@hud.gov, and of course you may call 1-800-CALL-FHA. Business hours are from 7 to 7 local time, Monday through Friday, and voicemail is available after hours. I want to pause right now to see if there are any questions that I can try to address right now.
Carla, there was one question in the chat from James, and the question said, is there any big difference between HELOC, HELOC, and the mentioned HECM?
Okay, so a HELOC is where you borrow, where you're borrowing money. It's a line of credit, so you're borrowing money against what you have in your equity, right? What you saved up in your equity, and you're borrowing money against that. So a HECM is for elderly homeowners, and I believe that the HECM's interest rate would be much lower than a HELOC. I did get a HELOC a while back when I was purchasing when my house, and it had a really high interest rate. So I wanted to make sure that I paid it off immediately. A HECM is you are borrowing money against your equity, but you're actually getting paid for that. So you can use it for it. Let's say you needed long-term health care. You can use it for that. You can use it for bills. You can use it for, anything you want. And it could be a monthly payment, or like I said, one lump sum. So I think you would want to compare both programs. So if you are an elderly homeowner, then you would qualify for a HECM. But I do believe that HELOC's interest rates are much higher than what you could get on a HECM. Any other questions?
And a follow-up to that from James was just to clarify that the HECM is mainly tailored toward elderly homeowners.
Exactly.
Right. Thank you for that. One more question from Ezekiel. How do you assist an elderly person to get an FHA loan?
Okay, so the first thing you should do is contact a lender. If you are interested in getting a reverse mortgage or a HECM like we've been talking about, then you'd want to make sure that you, of course, read up on it. And like I said, I'll put the link in the chat. And you can also shop around for lenders too. You don't have to go with the first lender who you call. You can see, can they help you with a down payment assistance, or is there secondary financing available? So different programs like that you'd want to ask about. So definitely work with a lender that you're comfortable with, and they can help you with there. And then if you have any further questions about the HECM program, or any questions about buying a home, please make sure you call 1-800-CALL-FHA, and the FHA Resource Center will be more than happy to help you with that as well.
And thank you so much to Larry from HCD. The links have been posted in the chat for looking for a lender. So all of those links are there as well in the chat to search. I do also see a hand up. And let's see. Kilcook, did you want to unmute yourself to ask a question? Okay, I'll go to the second person. Thelma, did you want to unmute yourself?
I had a question. So, how do we know how much we need a loan?
I'm sorry, can you please repeat your question?
How much would we know how much do we need a loan for the or do we just have them help us, run the loan, apply for a loan and see how much we're approved for? Or do we tell them, just run it and see how much we're approved for? Because we don't know how much we need a loan for.
Exactly. That's a perfect question. Thank you for asking that. So the first thing you want to do is contact a lender so you could get pre-approval. So they can tell you, they're going to run your numbers. How much money do you make? How much debt do you have? They're going to run all your numbers. They'll let you know this is how much you can borrow. So from there, then you can contact a realtor and they can help you look for a home within your price range. Does that answer your question?
I'm kind of well, okay, okay, not really, because I'm trying to see, for instance, I saw you guys getting involved. I saw you guys involved with building a neighborhood in the area of 288 in Orem. Were involved in that neighborhood, the new neighborhood that's being built. So that's how I saw you guys. So that's why I was asking, how would we know? Because this is a brand new neighborhood that's being built.
Carla, this is Jeremiah from the city of Houston. So she's talking about one of um, our sites that we're going to talk about a little bit further in the presentation. And so
Okay, so
yeah, we can table that for that part of the presentation.
okay, that's what I was. Okay, this where I came in at. Okay, then.
And if y'all want to take, I think one more question, and then we'll move on with the presentation. I see there's one more hand raised.
Yes, thank you. Shuna, did you want to ask your question?
Yes, hello everyone. I just want to make sure I heard correctly where you were saying find a lender, that you reach out to multiple lenders. Was that correct?
Yes, you can. You're not stuck with one lender. However, if you are, if you're purchasing a home and if let's say that you've gone through, like, you found a house, you paid for an appraisal for that home, and then all of a sudden you're mad at the lender and you want to find a new lender, you might have to pay for another appraisal. So it depends on the where you are in the process. But if you're just searching for a lender and you haven't gotten that far in the home buying process, yeah, you can definitely shop for a lender. Ask them to pre-qualify you. What is their interest rate? How much of a home can you purchase? So yeah, you can definitely shop for lenders.
And through the pre-qualification or pre-approval, that doesn't affect your credit?
Ah, it I've heard that it does, but for an FHA loan, if we see that, the underwriters are looking, they say, oh well, they've had these, they've had 5 lenders check on, them buying pre-qualifying for a home. That's something that they will sort of overlook because they know you're in the market to buy a house, right? So they're not going to hold that piece against you, in regards to your credit. But yeah, it will affect, I heard that it does. How much, I'm not sure, but it does. Every time somebody does a credit check, it'll show up.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. All right, let's go ahead and move on. I think we're getting past time here, but if any questions, you can put in the chat and we'll respond that way as well. I do have to say that finally, if there are any discrepancies between my presentation and policy, then policy prevails and the information is subject to change. Next slide. I really appreciate your time today. Again, any questions, please put it in the chat and we'll respond. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Carla. And we just wanted to put our contact information here as well at the Houston field office. I did see a comment earlier in the chat regarding discrimination in Houston. We do have an office of fair housing and equal opportunity. So please give us a call if you have questions that are outside of the topic today, obviously, and you can contact the numbers that Carla, we will put them in the chat as well to get more information on anything that we didn't get to today in this webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you to everyone at the HUD Houston Field Office for that wealth of information. That could have been its own 1-hour webinar, and I think did a pretty great job of condensing it for 20 minutes. Let me just put the camera back on. And so we're going to transition to the City of Houston programming. As Adela mentioned, though, please keep putting questions in the chat that you have for them. They are monitoring that, and they're going to answer those questions. And during the Q&A at the end, we're going to read out some of those answers that they didn't have the chance to answer directly. But to transition back to the City of Houston programming, the first program we're going to talk about is the Homebuyer Assistance Program, or HAP for short. So this is probably the program a lot of folks think about when they think about HCD. And this is going to be direct down payment assistance of up to $50,000 for program qualified Houstonians. And that down payment assistance can be used for traditional single family homes, condos, townhomes, co-op units, or manufactured homes that are on a permanent foundation. So it's actually can be used a little bit differently than just down payment assistance, right? You can also use this for closing costs, reducing the mortgage, your interest rate, buying that down, which interest rates are pretty high right now. So I know that's front and center in a lot of y'all's mind, and prepaid items. So that will be things that you can consider and how you want to divvy that out to make it an affordable home for you and your family. I do want to draw mention to the asterisk. This is that $50,000 will be subject to program funding and review of your file. So it's not for sure 50,000, it's up to. I just want to emphasize again, up to amount. Your first steps to apply for this program will be to take a HUD approved 8-hour homebuyer education course, which our colleagues at the HUD Houston Field Office mentioned. You can search for any provider throughout the city of Houston using that link that's here on this slide. You will also need to have a pre-approval letter for a fixed rate mortgage from a lender. The city of Houston does not have preferred lenders, so you can shop around for whatever lender you feel most comfortable with. And in terms of income eligibility, you can earn up to 80% area median income, which the short name for that is AMI. And so what does that mean? And if you just joined us, if you could just mute your microphone, that'd be great. So these figures here that you're looking at are set by HUD every year for the metropolitan area. These are the Houston numbers. So for the HAP program, you can only earn up to 80% area median income for your household. So for example, in a household of 5, 2 adults and maybe 3 kids, you can earn up to $80,550 and be income eligible for this program. Again, there's going to be other program requirements. And so this is a handy guide just in case you attended some other webinars we've had or looked on our website earlier. These income limits were increased on June 15th. And again, if you can mute your microphone where the HCD team can find who's, I think sounds like they're eating chips and not sharing with everyone in the crowd, that'd be really appreciated. But again, these have just been recently updated. We're June 27th as of today, and these were updated on June 15th. So just take a minute to look at this. These are updated also on our website. In terms of applying for HAP, if you meet those first 3 steps we talked about, you're going to call 832-394-6200 to begin that application process. Part of the eligibility of this program is that you do have to find a home that is program eligible. In general, that means taxed by the city of Houston and will need to be able to pass an environmental review to make sure it's not in a floodway or the 100-year floodplain. An inspection, so this is not a program for homes that need a lot of repair, and also an underwriting review at the end of the process. You also have to agree to sign the terms and conditions. So a couple of things to know about this program. There is a 33% front end and 45% back end debt to income ratio. We're going to talk about what debt to income ratios look like and how to calculate them at a high level in a few slides. But something to keep in mind. You have to be a first-time home buyer as defined by not owning a home or purchasing a home in the last 3 years. There is a $30,000 liquid asset for the program, and you will agree to a 5-year secondary lien on the home that you purchase. To learn about all the program requirements, because again, this is only a 10,000-foot view of this program, please visit houstontx.gov/housing/HAP. You're going to have all this information, including all the program requirements. But again, this is to get not a comprehensive review of this program, but to give you an idea of the program and the resources that exist and some general program requirements. The next program we're going to talk about is our New Homes for Houston initiative. This is one of our families that recently closed on a home, the Lewis family. They were able to use this program to purchase their first home. They combined a bunch of different programming to get to that point and put in a lot of hard work to get there. We're really proud of the effort they did. And here you can see the day that they closed on that home and the happiness they have and for themselves and for their family and creating that stability and intergenerational wealth. So this is going to be a little bit different than the program we just talked about, Homebuyer Assistance Program or HAP. This is the roll-up of two different programs that kind of do the same thing. They have the same program philosophy. But in general, what you need to know is that we are investing $105 million directly in our neighborhoods through the construction of new, affordable, disaster-resilient, energy-efficient homes, more than 2,000 homes set aside for program-qualified Houstonians. So I want to make sure this is a very key point on this program. The affordable homes that are being financed partially by this program are reserved strictly for people that qualify for our program. The amount of assistance through this will be related directly based on the affordable home buyer's needs. We'll walk through an example what that means in just a minute. For our program under the New Homes for Houston initiative, your base secondary lien will be 4 years. But I do want to mention that for each of our developments, and we'll walk through a few of them, there may be additional program requirements that will make secondary lien longer and may just have additional program requirements to talk about. But in general, again, this is directly investing in neighborhoods to attack one of the issues that we've seen over the last few years, which is just the lack of inventory of homes that are sold at affordable prices. So the next few slides we're going to go over very quickly. This is just to give you an example of 4 or 5 developments that are scheduled to either be ready for sale now or will be ready for sale before the end of the calendar year. To give you an idea of the different types of homes, different types of price ranges, we have over 10 different developments, so this is only going to be about a quarter of them. On our website, we'll have a listing of our future developments and which ones will be ready for sale. So this first one is Town Park Village. These 4 homes are actually ready to go. They're ready for move in now. Again, as we go through this, put your questions in the chat. We are going to send these slides and the recording to you in a few business days. So don't feel like you got to write down all these features or take your phone and put it up to the camera, because I've seen that. We are going to send this out to you. The key information here for these homes is here's the price range. Again, these homes are for sale now, a projected move-in date of now. And to get more information about amenities and the exact price for these homes, please contact the developer first, right? So reach out to them and they'll be able to give you the exact price amount. That's going to be my advice for each of these developments. If you have specific questions about price ranges or amenities, contact the developer and they'll be more than happy to talk to you about that. This is one of our developments. We're using the super neighborhood names. So this is going to be one for New Homes for OST South Union. And here you're going to see traditional single family style homes, bedroom size, square foot sizes starting at 839 square feet, going to just over 1,400 square feet, 2 bedrooms and 3 bedroom homes. Here you'll see a visual map of where these homes are being built. Some are completed now and some will be built throughout the next year and a half or so in the different bedroom sizes. These are some of the homes that are either have been sold or are on the market now or about to be on the market, just to give you an idea of the look and feel. And this is one of our developments that does have additional program requirements. Typically, the reason why you'll see this is that we've partnered with nonprofit developers who have been able to bring in additional funding to make the homes even more affordable. But in exchange for that, they do have additional program requirements they have to follow as well. So this will be the program requirements for this development. And you can contact Agape Development to learn more about their programming and the homes themselves. This is the market price range that they're looking at. And so when I say market rate price range, this is the price range before the city's assistance to make the homes more affordable. Because again, it's going to be tailored towards that individual home buyer and where they're at now. Some homes are for sale now, with so that pre-sale status looks like. You can contact them here at that information, and I see that Larry's putting that into the chat. Our next development is what we're calling the New Homes for Northeast Houston. This is going to be our largest development in terms of number of homes and also just a pure acreage. This is in partnership with Houston Habitat for Humanity. You may have heard of this development called Robbins Landing. This is going to be a master plan, 127-acre community with over 400 homes, 468 homes to be exact, with a ton of community amenities. I'm not going to go down that entire list, but this is very comprehensive, very thoroughly planned out community. Here are some floor plans, and they're moving forward. You can see the framing here in March of some of these homes, and in May, so you can see the progress is going on. Here's June, the roads are being put in. This was off just trees a couple months ago in February, so they're making fantastic progress here. As a nonprofit partner, they're going to have their own program requirements, which again, I'm not going to go through all of these. We are going to send you these slides. And here's their information here. We can contact them. The price range they're targeting is at the 200,000 range. So again, this is going to be 400 plus homes. They're going to be what would be considered affordable, even about the city's assistance. But we're going to be able to help with some of those homes as well to make those prices even more affordable. And one of the things I wanted to point out here is even if you're not ready for the home buyer process now, because of developments like this and some other developments that are longer reaching, we have, again, these developments are going to be homes ready for sale in the next few months. The Robbins Landing is going to be 5 phases over the next 3 years. So if you need time to build your credit, if you need time to work on your down payment assistance, down payment for your home, we do have homes that will be available starting now, but again, for the next 2 or 3 years as well, depending on which neighborhood you're interested in moving into. And again, if you are joining us late, if you can mute yourself, we would really appreciate it because we have a ton of folks on this that are with us right now. So our next site is also in OST South Union, but this one's going to be on MLK. Here you can see a groundbreaking that started was middle of March, I think the front end of March of this year. And just a few months later, you can see a lot of progress has been made. This is in partnership with Mayberry Homes. You can see streets are being put in already. Mayberry Homes is calling this a Southern Palm community. There's going to be 40 homes, all reserved for our program qualified home buyers. Here are some renderings that you can see what the homes will look like. We have a park in the middle for a family and community gathering events. Some renderings of the internal, what the homes will look like inside. And then this will be the price range with the city's assistance within 250, just under $300,000. And so these homes, they're looking to start pre-selling. I know it's this spring, but more likely fall of this year, with some homes ready for sale before the end of this year for sure. And this is the last one I'm going to show y'all. Again, this is only a sampling of our developments. This is going to be based in the north side. This is actually 2 different developments in the north side, Aaron Park and Fulton Crossing. This is in partnership with Cityside Homes. So Aaron Park is going to be, this is their kind of their floor plan and their visual rendering of that. Fulton Crossing here, you can see those floor plans. And they broke ground earlier this year, and you can see progress is going pretty quickly. So these homes will be ready for sale before the end of this year as well. The price range is going to be different depending on the site you're looking at, but they're looking at it again pre-selling in fall of 2023, with a move-in date of winter of 2023. And you can contact Cityside Homes, learn more about the amenities and the price points of these homes with their contact information here. And I mentioned earlier, again, we do have homes that are coming down the road. One of our questions was about the East Orem site, which we're calling the Cityscape site. So this is going to be some 3 developments that aren't going to start construction until later this year. So homes won't be on sale late 2024, late 2025. So if you need time to get ready for home ownership, because it is a big process, it takes a lot of work to get there if you're not ready yet. These are going to be 3 developments that we have further down the line, including that East Orem, we're calling New Hampshire Cityscape. We don't have price points yet because we haven't started construction, but you can sign up for updates on those 3 sites or any of our sites by clicking the Homebuyer Interest Survey. And once we have more updates, we will directly email you with information on the development you're interested in. So if you're only interested in Cityscape or East Orem, when we have more information, we will email you directly. You can select more than one development. You can select all of them, whatever interests you. We will keep you updated as we get more relevant updates. I'm going to breeze through these last few slides so we can take some questions. This is related to the qualification, the process of applying for these homes under the New Homes for Houston new construction. This is going to be very similar to what we just went through over HAP. You do have to have that 8-hour home buyer education course within the last 365 days. You have to have that pre-approval letter. And one of the great features about this programming is you can earn up to 120% area median income. Most housing programs will cap it at 80%. So for this program, for most of our developments, you can earn up to that in that right column, that 120% area median income. So for that household of 5 that we went through earlier, that could earn up to 80,000. For this program, you can earn up to 120,000. So again, these figures were just recently updated on June 15th. But this is a really great opportunity for folks that are over 80% area median income to participate in this programming. So I want to walk you through an example of how the program works at a high level. In this example, we have a household of 5 and 2 adults that are making under $50,000, as you can see here, and 1 stay-at-home grandparent. So for the purposes of our income calculation, we're going to add those incomes. And because they are making, and I need to update the slide a little bit, actually, now that I'm looking at it for the new figures, but they would qualify under this program because they make less than that 120% area median income. So the variable assistance under the New Homes for Houston initiative is tied to what we call the affordability gap. So in this example, this family was able to get a pre-approval letter for $250,000. But the development market rate price that they're interested in is $300,000. So that would be the price listing like at HAR or whatever the case may be. The home is $300,000. So there's that affordability gap of $50,000, right? That's market rate price versus what a lender was pre-approved them for, right? That gap. So the developer will work with that individual homebuyer's affordability gap to help them close where they are at that point in time. So, for example, if that family earned was able to get $270,000, then that gap would only be 30,000, and that's the gap they'd be working on. So each development is going to have a different market rate price. Each development is getting a different amount of assistance from the city. So there's going to be flexibility in how that works. But we won't be able to give you an exact figure of what that looks like for each development because they have a flexibility of going a little bit above or a little bit below. But we will work with you and communicate with you if this is a program you're interested in after you apply. We walk you through this process. We have folks that will connect you to the developer. We don't just leave you in the wilderness, right? So in terms of the secondary lien, most developments will have a 4-year secondary lien under this program, which means 25% of our assistance is forgiven every year. So in that example that I just mentioned earlier with the $50,000 gap, $12,500 is forgiven every year. So at the end of the 4 years, as long as you're living in that home, that secondary lien is completely forgiven, which means you're building a lot of equity really quickly into that home. So no payments will be made on that secondary lien unless you have to sell or move out of the home before 4 years. In terms of what debt to income ratios look like, what that means at a high level is we're going to look at your monthly payments divided by your gross monthly income. That's going to include your monthly mortgage. This is back-end DTI. So I'm going to give you an example of what that looks like. Your monthly debt would be recurring debt that you pay, your car payments, your credit cards, student loans, any medical debt that you have. And your gross income is your income before taxes. On the back end, your DTI, after we know what your mortgage would be, cannot exceed 45%. So in this example, I'm just going to pull up all these bullet points and walk you through it. The monthly mortgage payment for the home that this couple is looking at would be $2,000. Between the two of them, they had that monthly recurring debt of $1,500. So their total monthly debt is $3,500. This couple makes $7,808 before tax. So when you divide their monthly debt by their gross income, they're at 44% back-end debt to income ratio. That's below that 45%. So they're able to move forward and apply for this program. I know I gave you all a lot of information and I only showed you all a couple of the developments. You can go to our New Homes for Houston page to look at program requirements and to look at where all the other developments are at. The homebuyer interest survey is here as well. And you can contact us via email at newhomebuyer@houstontx.gov if you have specific questions about this programming. I also put this slide here at the end for y'all. I know that was a lot of information. It's a little bit of a cheat sheet on the comparison between these two programs. But again, we highly encourage you to look at the websites, look at the program requirements, because we were only talking about them at a 10,000-foot view. Just a couple of additional resources. We are hosting another one of these virtual homebuyer fairs. And for the question about what is a mortgage and how does that look, our next homebuyer fair will be Wednesday, July 12th from 11 to 12. Our partner will be the Bank of Texas. And they're going to talk about what it is, what a mortgage is and how to actually apply for one, what a lender will ask you for in terms of documents, and be able to answer some of those questions. So if you don't, if you need a little more information about what a mortgage actually is or how to apply for one, definitely recommend you register for this webinar, and we'll have more information on some of our other programming as well. One of my colleagues hosts a great webinar resource called 360 Real Home Ownership. So here you can see the different types of classes that are being covered. Tonight, actually, from 6 to 7:30, she's going to talk about housing tune-ups. So for all of you that mentioned wanting a home as an asset for your kids, part of that means you have to maintain the home, right? You can't just let it fall apart. So tonight's webinar will walk you through some things to think about when it comes to maintaining your home and maintaining its value. You can you can register for that by clicking that link here. You can also visit and review other webinars they've had in the past at that bottom link here, houstontx.gov/housing/outreach/360. Some other resources we have for y'all. We have the Houston Financial Empowerment Centers. This is a free service for you. They can walk you through some of your financial capability questions. So again, this is a free service. Here where all the FEC locations are in our multi-service centers throughout the city. And then I'm not going to walk through fair housing basics, but this is just kind of putting a bookend on that question earlier. The city of Houston also has fair housing resources on our website and fair housing staff that can walk you through filing a fair housing complaint, as you can see here. What housing discrimination actually looks like, common issues in terms of fair housing. And here's where all that information is located, right? If you want more information, because I'm not the subject matter expert, you can go to this website here, or you can give us a call at 832-394-6200 extension 5, or shoot our fair housing team an email at fairhousing@houstontx.gov. So I know I went through a lot of that real quick, and I know we're right at 12. If you have to jump off, I completely understand, but we're going to stay on a little bit longer to take some questions. So I'm going to mute myself, and I believe Andrea here is going to walk through some of the questions that were answered in the chat, and then we'll take some of your live questions. So Andrea, do you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and go through some of those questions? Andrew, if you're with us, you are muted and we can't hear you.
Is that better? Can you hear
Yes,
me
we
now?
can.
I'm sorry.
Yes, we can hear you
Okay.
now.
Sorry about that. Thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. Let's see, I'm scrolling down the chat here to make sure we cover everybody's questions. Um, it looks like the very first question started with, let's see here. Larry posted some resources online regarding the real estate owned properties, HUD real estate owned properties. And then there's also any big differences between a HELOC and the mentioned HECOM. I believe that one was a HUD during the HUD presentation. We didn't provide a response to that, but because even though we don't have a response to it here in chat and during the call, what we'll do is we'll gather all of these and we'll provide responses and resubmit them to all the participants, so you'll get responses to all your questions, okay? And I believe following that, Larry Harris submitted a link for the HUD housing counselors. Just a sec here. And then we'll continue down, and there's also a HUD counseling first time home buyer YouTube video that was posted, and several other resources that FHA may have mentioned during the call, but the links are in the chat. Then next question was from Ezekiel. How do you assist an elderly to get FHA loan? They will just have to go through the lender and through the FHA application process. Does anyone else
Andrew,
have
we
anything else to
answered
add?
those questions already.
Okay.
The
I
HELOC
gotcha.
and
All right.
HECM.
I gotcha. All right, thank you. I was having audio issues earlier, sorry. So mainly it's tailored more towards elderly was a question. And then we've got FHA maximum front end and back end ratios. There wasn't a response in the chat.
That one's been answered also.
See here. And Larry, we've got the HUD Houston field office phone numbers that were provided. And then let's see here. Interest rates about Shad made a comment, the interest rates back to normal, and I can remember when they were 18% and people were still buying homes. Hold on a second. Sorry, not everybody who joined through Teams has access to the chat, so I'm just going to go through all of these here. And then there was a question for how do I apply for HUD Homebuyer 8-hour program?
So for that question, throughout the presentation, we've and we provided the link to HUD's site where you can search for whichever by whatever parameter you would like housing counseling agencies that offer that. The city of Houston does not directly offer that course, so there's a variety of nonprofits throughout Houston that do. When you go to that filter page, you will go ahead and put whatever parameters you want, right? Like you can search by language, you can search by distance, and then you have the option of choosing whichever agency you want to take that course through. And so that is completely up to you. But you can go to that HUD page again and select whichever agency you would like.
And then Lorita had a question about the presentation. Yes, it will be mailed out. Let's see here. And I believe it'll be shared to the address, email address that you signed up under for this webinar. And let's see here. There's resources on how to locate HUD counseling services. Here, information for, oh, hold on just a sec. Information for Berkeley Homes was also provided along with OST South Union on Calhoun Road. Let's see here. Are there new developments for bigger families that offer 5+ bedrooms? I don't believe we have any developments as of now that offer 5+ bedroom homes. I believe the largest bedroom size we offer right now is 4. Let's see here, and Habitat for Humanity contact information. Mayberry information was provided. And then are you going to build any new homes in the Studewood Heights off of Cross Timbers and Yale Street? I don't believe we have any developments in that area at this time. It really is driven by what our developers propose to us, because a lot of these sites are owned by developers. So let's see here, city side homes information was provided. What about elders with little income below 45,000 a year? I believe that one was answered. Agape, one of our nonprofit partners, works with folks who are in the 60 or below AMI. Here. We have Jordan Newton. I'm sorry, let's see here. Sylvia, LaMonica, we have noted your correct email address. Larry provided more resources regarding our new homes on our housing website. And let's see here. Shad had requested we explain the 33% income ratio. I don't, Jackie O, did that one get answered? I don't see it on here.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I was answering another question.
No worries. Shad Pogany asked if we could get a clarification on the 33% ratio. But I believe that was for HAP, right?
That's for HAP. We will be adding it, as we are working through the changes in the guideline, we'll be adding that to our program as well. But the one presented today is for HAP.
Okay. And I believe the question was the clarification on the 33% ratio and what that means.
The front end ratio, Ivana, you're here?
No, I don't think she's
Jackie, what was the question? I'm sorry.
Can you explain the 33% front end ratio?
Yes, so that's the maximum 33% income ratio for down payment assistance. So we will be looking at, several different things as far as underwriting. We would look at the buyer's cash reserves, payment history and stuff like that in order to determine if we will go beyond the 33%, but that's the maximum currently.
So Cedric, may I get a clarification? 33% is the front end ratio.
That's
What's our
the
back
front
end
end,
ratio?
that's the front end debt to income ratio, and 45% is the back end ratio.
Okay, so there's a difference between your front end and your back end ratio. For those on the call, your 33% front end ratio is just your true housing costs. And what that means is your principal,
Correct.
interest, taxes, and insurance cannot exceed 33% of your monthly income. That's a guideline that we have in place so that we are making sure that the numbers are sound with what you're bringing in terms of your income and other expenses, because that's just your housing expense. And then your back end ratio is everything else on your credit report, such as your notes for your car, student loans, credit card, monthly obligations and such that appear on your credit report. And so that's limited to, you said 45%, right, Cedric?
That's correct.
Okay, so that's the
so
difference. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you have the FHA at 31 and 43% if you look in the chat.
Okay, so those are your front end and your back end ratios, and that's what differentiates them. Okay. And that's not counting anything else that is not reflecting in your credit reports, such as your groceries, your electricity bill, your your gas expenses for your vehicle, maintenance on your vehicles and everything else. That's why we don't go take it to the full amount of your total gross total monthly income. Let's see here. We'll keep scrolling down, and then there's additional resources that Larry shared with us for the virtual fair. Let's see here. There's fair housing information in the chat also. Keita Ferguson asked, do you guys have your own realtors, or do you work with any realtor partners, any classes or info for realtor partners?
So the city of Houston does not have preferred realtors or preferred lenders. You are free to shop for both, and we highly encourage you to shop for both and find realtor and lenders that you feel will work best for you. Um, our developer partners under the New Homes for Houston new construction programming will have preferred lenders. You can use them if you'd like. They may have preferred realtor partners as well. But we as the city of Houston do not have realtor partners. In terms of classes, we're info for realtor partners. At the bottom of our New Homes for Houston page, we do have a sign up for more information if you're a realtor, and we do plan on hosting specific workshops for the realtor community that will be more technical than what this webinar was to kind of help you prepare your clients if this is something that they want to participate in.
Thanks, Jeremiah. And then there was a question about lender preference of front end ratio of a certain limit. And then there was a follow-up question provided. How does FHA provide more help to 80% AMI and below buyers achieve homeownership with housing prices in Houston so high? See, I don't believe we have a response for that here. Nia then asked what down payment assistance is available for homeowners at 120% AMI. That's our HDP program. Here. A recording of this will be available once the webinar is complete. Gloria asked, could you repeat when someone can qualify for with 120% income above MSI? I want to make sure we understand the question. Gloria, you're asking if someone can qualify with 120% income above MSI, or because we here in housing, we use the area median income as established by HUD. I just want to make sure we're answering your question correctly. Gloria, are you still on the line with us? If not, can you drop that just clarification in the chat, please? Vikram asked, good afternoon, are the floor plans ready and or it can be modified larger room size location of kitchen or bathroom? The floor plans are as they are, from what I understand, because they had to go and get them permitted as they were rendered. So I believe you can make some minor modifications, Cedric, but I believe that it'll be like more cosmetic, like what kind of cabinets do you want, the finish of your cabinets, maybe the certain colors, but otherwise certain finishes, but I don't believe you can change or modify the actual. Oh, thanks, Tizita. It sounds like some developments might be flexible, but not necessarily to the extent of changing the size of the room or the location, the kitchen or bathroom. There may be some, but not all developments are. Okay, thanks, Tizita. All right. It says, do you have a list of credit repair? Is that credit repair housing, like repair resources for those who will assist you in repairing your credit? I believe that's the question. We didn't.
We don't have a list of credit repair. That's a step up in financial counseling. So no, we don't have a list of that on our website.
And then there was a question from Nia about down payment assistance available for the 120. We currently do not have down payment assistance for 80 to 120 AMI. And then the question was, what does 80 to 120% AMI mean? Average median income. There's a chart in this presentation on our website. Let's see here. And then there was a question to clarify with a qualification, and the response was to be eligible for the Affordable Home Development Program. The household income must be at or below 120 AMI. Any plans for near North Side Hardy Yards? that is a developer has been selected for that development site, and we are in the due diligence stage at this point.
Yeah, that's what I answered in here. That we're
Gotcha.
currently exploring options for development in the Hoyer Yards area.
Okay, thank you. Bear with me, my chats are they keep scrolling back up and down. Let's see here. There's additional resources here for income, and then let's see here. Any development plans towards southwest side? Southwest. Vikram, if you have a more defined area when you refer to southwest, Houston is a pretty large area when it comes to land area. So clarify for us what southwest side you're referring to. If it's a particular area, we'll definitely look into that for you. Let's see, Adela, let's see here. I think that same question came up about North Shore. I don't believe we have anything in the North Shore area. I think the closest to the east side of town is the Robbins Landing development by Habitat for Humanity. Let's see here. Albert is a real estate agent who, with the Remax, who dropped in his contact information there. Vikram, there's a website that Tizita on the chat shared with all participants that lists all of the developments and their locations. And then there was a question about 3400 Lynn Street, Fifth Ward development. That's still under negotiation at this point. We are working through to get that approved by City Council, which is our governing body. We can't quite advertise that until it is approved by City Council. And I believe the last question is from Vikram. Oh, that was your question about 59 Hillcroft. Yes, but Vikram, just refer back to our website. There is all of our developments are identified there with their locations and which side of town they're on.
All right, everyone. We are way over time, so we appreciate that you stayed with us as long as you did. We're going to take one last question if anyone wants to unmute themselves, and then we're going to wrap up. So does anyone have one last question they'd like to ask?
Yes, hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I once seen where you all was planning on making a development over by Ellerton. That's like over like by Southeast Houston, more past Alameda Mall. And I was wondering, are y'all still going to build there?
So we are still going through that internal review process that Andrea mentioned, and as soon as we have updates that we can share, we will put that on the website.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Like I said, I know we're way over, and we appreciate you that stay with us. We're going to have another opportunity to answer more questions at our next webinar, which will be, again, as I scroll through all these bullet points. Give me just 1 second. Our next one will be Wednesday, July 12th from 11 to 12. And again, that our partner will be Bank of Texas, and they'll talk a lot more about what it takes to actually apply for a mortgage, the documents you'll need, and how that looks for you and for the lender. And then we'll also have more time to answer these type of questions. So, but we're going to wrap up because we are over time. So thank you again for everyone who joined us, and we hope to see you again on July 12th. And in the meantime, please stay hydrated, please stay cool out there, and we'll hopefully see you then. Thank you, everyone.